So, as one gay Marine who fought at Iwo Jima said later, there was a war on, who in the hell was going to worry about this? So basically, between 1941 and 45, the US military saw a large number of gay men and lesbians, while at the same time, gay men and lesbians coped with the roles of the military. An awful lot of gay soldiers, perhaps even the majority, experienced an unexpected, if somewhat uneasy, acceptance by most of their fellow soldiers. Inspired by the necessity of living together in close quarters, depending on one another, and basically having to put up with it, many heterosexuals developed at least a temporary kind of pragmatic ethos of tolerance. I won't bother you if you don't bother me, again, as long as you're a useful comrade. To be sure, there were some gay soldiers who were harassed and abused, whether by their command or their fellow soldiers. But if a gay man performed a useful function in his unit, that generally took precedence over the suspicion or even the outright knowledge that he was gay. Bottom line is, when they were needed, gay soldiers were accepted. This limited toleration, though, as we'll see, would not last. By late in the war and surging right afterwards, as the need for soldiers dwindled, many gay men in the military, and plenty of lesbians as well in the women's forces, faced purges and punishment. What this meant often was being investigated, often being forced or strongly coerced to name the names of other people you knew who were or might be gay, and ultimately receiving a dishonorable discharge from the military. There's a copy of one of these here on the right. What you can't see is these were informally known as blue discharges, meaning they were printed on a light blue color paper. And receiving a dishonorable discharge from the military didn't just mean that you were out. It meant that one faced a whole host of problems. First of all, you were no longer eligible for GI benefits. No loans, no college information or help, no jobs, no purchasing a home, etc. Carrying around blue discharge papers, because ex-soldiers were required, in fact, to carry around their separation paperwork and present it on demand, meant that you were likely to be outed to family, to friends, to your community, and at work. So these were really quite devastating and experienced as extremely punitive for simply being a person who had been accepted or valued during the war years. And this is going to lead to a great deal of resentment. So bottom line, what is going to happen when we return to peacetime? One of our most enduring images today, I would still say, of the end of the war is this famous photograph on the left by wartime photographer Robert Eisenstadt, I believe, of a sailor passionately bending over and kissing a woman in Times Square during the celebration of Victory Day. On the surface, this is an image of joy and triumph and passion and a kind of return to normalcy and a celebration. The reality, unfortunately, and I'm going to ruin the picture for you now, is a lot more complex. It's a great photo, but the woman in the picture, a nurse who, like thousands of others, wanted to come out to Times Square or wherever it is to experience this moment in public, she later recalled that the sailor was drunk. She didn't know him. The kiss was unexpected. It really wasn't welcome, but she felt vaguely as though he had served and he deserved this while she was a civilian, and so her consent didn't really matter. What we'll see next time in the next screencast is that a lot of these complex dynamics during the war would help shape a very dramatically different demographic and cultural setting in the post-war era. So that, for example, when soldiers were asked in the pamphlet on the right, do you want your wife to work after the war? The assumption was they had a right to decide that or not. And so as we move into the standard heterosexual family of the 1950s, with the kids and the car and the white picket fence, we'll look at how some of the legacies of the war continued to play out.